Hi guys, it's Miss Homan from Room 9. I am bringing you a super fun art lesson today. We are going to do something called an optical illusion. Now before we start making our optical illusion, we're going to learn why optical illusions happen, why they work. So we're going to watch a short video together that explains it. And I actually learned a lot from this video too. So let's take 3 minutes and we're going to just watch this video. So let's watch.
Inside Science TV.
These are just two identical run-of-the-mill straight lines. Nothing all that terribly interesting about them. But what is interesting is what happens when you change what's going on around them. They'll look like they've changed size in relation to each other. They'll change to different shades. They'll stretch and compress, and can even change directions. Even though it seems like these changes are actually happening on the screen, the only thing that's actually bending and buckling is your mind. What's going on inside your brain is the truly mesmerizing part of visual illusions. When you look at something, what you're really seeing is light, specifically light from the sun, or a light bulb bounces off whatever you're looking at and enters into your eye. The light is then converted to electrical signals that your brain can turn into an image. This process takes about 1/10 of a second, so at any given moment, your eyes are taking in an incredible amount of information. It's really difficult for your brain to try to focus on everything at once. So our brain takes shortcuts, simplifying what we see to help us concentrate on what's important. This trait helped early humans survive encounters with fast predators, or at the very least, avoid running into trees. These shortcuts are also at the heart of how visual illusions fool our brains. Take the herring illusion, for example. Here are two straight lines again, but when you drop them in front of this radial pattern, they looked warped even though they're actually straight. When your brain sees that radial pattern, it focuses on the point in the middle. It looks like you're traveling towards it. Your brain then thinks these parallel lines are getting closer. That's why they seem to get larger as you approach the center of the radial pattern, and that makes the lines look warped. Not all visual illusions trick our brain into seeing motion. Some can also trick our brains into perceiving colors or shades that aren't actually there. Take the mock band illusion. This stack of ascending gray bars seems to be lighter on the bottom, but when we separate them, we can see that they're all a solid color. This is due to an automatic process in our brains called lateral inhibition that helps us define the edges of objects. The effect can be seen in this famous illusion, the Hermann grid, where you can see a sort of gray circle at the intersection points of each square. What about those illusions that make it seem like a still image is moving? The psychedelic peripheral drift illusion is an impressive brain fart. This is a version called the rotating snakes. You can't help but see a very convincing slithering motion within the image, but when you fixate on any point, the motion seems to stop. This is due in part to how we perceive light and dark, and in part to our eye movements. The sequence of light, dark, and colored segments in each of these snakes tricks the motion-sensitive neurons in your brain into responding as they would to real physical motion. The pattern of segments that leads to the illusory rotation is always white, light gray, black, and dark gray in sequence. In color, the lime green acts as light gray, and the light blue acts as dark gray. So you can see it also works in grayscale. Also, blinking, shifting your eyes, and looking away can fuel the illusion of motion. So believe the cliche, what you see isn't always what you get. Speaking of things we're seeing, hit that subscribe button to see more Inside Science videos. So to let us know if you want more, give us a like. Do you have any other burning questions you want explained? Let us know in the comments.
Interesting.
What you're looking at right now is an optical illusion. While I'm talking, focus on the center and think about how easy it is to fool your eye.
So I think that's really interesting. Some of those actually made me a little bit dizzy. So we're going to do that. So right now what you need to do is pause the video and you need to get a few things. You need a piece of paper, any kind of paper. I'm using blank paper because that way it's not going to mess up what I'm working with. You're going to need a pencil, a ruler, or something straight. Anything straight is fine. It can be a book. I just have this big ruler. You might have a smaller ruler or the ruler from the classroom, and 2 crayons or markers or whatever you're going to use. One that's dark and one that's light. Remember how it talked about black, white, light gray, dark gray? So we need a dark color and a light color. So go ahead and pause the video. I will get the camera set up and we will be ready to go. Okay. Oh, that was okay. We're going to go back where we were. So here we have the blank piece of paper, and you're also going to need, like I said, your pencil and your ruler. So the first thing you're going to do, I'm going to move my camera a little bit so I can slide over here by my paper. We're going to start with our hand. So you're going to put your hand right here, and you're going to trace from the edge of the paper all the way around your hand. Make sure that there's space between all your fingers so you get all those fingers in there. And then mine goes off the edge a little bit. That's okay. That's kind of the way I wanted it. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. I'm going to turn mine sideways so it's a little bit easier to draw. And I'm going to start with straight lines. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight lines. All the way down my paper. But the thing that's very important is if you see right here, I start to overlap my fingers. And when I get to my finger, I'm going to stop, skip to the middle, go between those two fingers, and then go here. So if you look right here, I didn't draw a straight line over my fingers. And then I'm just going to keep going with that. Every time I reach part of my trace, I'm going to stop and pick up my line and go around. So just pretend like that is something you cannot draw over. And you can make these lines a little bit closer together than I am, or you can make them further apart. Mine are about, let's measure, almost an inch apart, not quite. And then I'm going to keep going, stop at my hand. And they don't have to be perfectly spaced, but you want them to not be, you don't want them to be super close together. And then last one. See, my last one's really close to the bottom, and that's okay. Okay, now that you have it like this, you're going to turn it back this way. Now, all together, I want you to do this with me. We're going to just make a small rainbow line. Here, I'll show you on here. A small rainbow line. It's not a line like this. It's very, very small. And you're going to connect those straight lines. So we'll start here, and we'll just do a small. If you look, it's a super small rainbow. It's not very tall. But I'm going to do that in all of my blank spaces. So these are the lines that I'm drawing on my hand. And you can almost already see it coming. You just want to connect those straight lines with your little small smiles, small rainbows. Now this one is going to be longer, but I still want it to just be very, very, see how it's still just a little curve? Same thing here. And then this one is going to be my longest one. So that one was actually a little bit trickier for me. So what I did is I came over here and I started from that side And I'm just gonna erase right there. Make that a little bit smoother. And you can see that it's starting to look like it's popping out. Now this is where you're gonna need your 2 crayons, one that's darker and one that's lighter. I am going to pick yellow, and I'm going to pick blue. So blue is my darker one, and then yellow is my lighter one. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color every other line, including the finger parts, with the dark color, and then every other line with the light color. Okay, so that is what I'm gonna do now. And there we go. And you can see that while I was coloring, I decided to trace over my hand with black pen because I have my teacher pens. But if you don't have a teacher pen or a black pen of any sort, you can use a black crayon or a black marker to do that. But if you look, now it looks kind of like my hand is sitting on top of something. Just like here, you can see there's a little bit, it looks almost a little bit 3D. So now, here's the fun part. You guys are gonna do another one. You can pick anything in your house that you want to trace and then do the exact same thing. Straight lines around the object, just like this. Your little curved lines in the object, and then color alternating with a light color and a dark color. And those light colors and dark colors are gonna help your eye see the trick, see the optical illusion. Now, that's what I want you to take a picture of and send to your teacher. Your hand one is super cool, but that's like your practice. That was my practice one too, because I'm gonna play around with it a little bit and see what happens. Maybe if I do the lines the other way, maybe it'll look like my hand's sinking. I don't know, but I'm gonna play around with it. But I want you guys to do one of these where it looks like something's popping out of the paper. Remember, just not huge rainbow lines, just very subtle. And I can't wait to see what you guys do. Pick anything in your house you want to trace. I tried it with a pair of scissors. You can use a pair of glasses. It's kind of cool when it goes off a little bit, but you're just going to trace around it. Don't forget, if you were going to use something like scissors to get all those little details, like the handle holes, and then go ahead and color it and take a picture of it and send it to your teacher. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. It's going to be exciting. Don't let it play too many tricks on your mind. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Bye.